Very good evening. You're watching India Global. I'm Gauri Dwivedi. Let's start the show with headlines this evening. First up, Prime Minister Modi speaks to US President Donald Trump. Talks focus on growing cooperation between India and the US as well as big global issues. Donald Trump says that Prime Minister Modi is likely to visit the US in February. Trump fires tremendous tariff maker warning at India. Trump vows tariffs on nations that quote-unquote harm the US, names China, India and Brazil. New Delhi set to reconsider sending financial aid to Mali. The move comes as the Maldives signs the FTA with China, which comes into effect from 1st of January 2025. India lodges strong protest over Sri Lankan Navy firing. India summons the Sri Lankan Acting High Commissioner in New Delhi over the incident where Sri Lankan Navy hits back over the fishermen incident. Indian fishermen acted aggressively is what the Sri Lankan Navy says. Big NDTV World exclusive with former Canadian MP, Indian origin Ruby Dhalla enters the Canadian Prime Minister race, tells NDTV that her candidature will bring diversity to the contest. The big story that we are tracking on India Global today, a week after Donald Trump's second presidential inauguration, US President Donald Trump has said that Prime Minister Modi will visit the United States in February. This makes Prime Minister Modi one of the first world leaders to visit Washington, D.C. after Trump's inauguration. Prime Minister Modi engaged in a detailed phone conversation with the President of US, where the two leaders discussed critical world affairs and reaffirmed their commitment to a strong and a mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, the Prime Minister and US President Trump agreed to meet soon at a mutually convenient time, with Trump's expected visit to India this year aligning with the leaders' Quad summit to be held in the later half of 2025. But this report really breaks down in detail the Trump-Modi bonhomie and how it could be a game changer for the India-US relationship. Take a look.
United States, the Honorable Donald John Trump.
US President Donald Trump is back in the White House with the Modi-Trump bonhomie back in focus. A week after the historic inauguration, Prime Minister Narendra Modi dialed President Trump, congratulating whom he called a dear friend on a historic second term. A first conversation since the latter assumed office last week. Taking to X, PM Modi revealed that the two leaders discussed bilateral ties, underscoring New Delhi's commitment to a mutually beneficial and trusted partnership with Washington. He also emphasized that the two countries shared commitment to working together for global peace and stability. Foreign Minister Jaishankar was also one of the first to meet Secretary of State Marco Rubio hours after his Senate confirmation. The two discussed bilateral issues including immigration, visas, trade, and more. PM Modi, who is in his third term, shared a close relationship with the US leader during Trump's first presidency. The two leaders found common ground on a range of issues, from counterterrorism to the growing importance of the Indo-Pacific. It was also under Trump's first term that saw the revival of the Quad involving the US, India, Japan, and Australia over shared concerns over China's rising influence in the region. The group was upgraded to the ministerial level, with Washington recognizing India as a key partner in maintaining regional stability. However, this bonhomie is set to face a range of challenges, with President Trump vowing to impose reciprocal taxes, curb visas, and a whole lot more in his America First mission. In his first move as President, Trump, in a flurry of executive actions aimed at overhauling US immigration, revoked birthright citizenship, a major blow to Indian H-1B visa holder families. He has also threatened to impose sanctions on Russian oil if the war in Ukraine continues, further impacting India, who remains a major importer of Russian oil. Trade ties saw ups and downs as well during Trump's first term, and this will continue this time round, with the US president threatening to impose reciprocal tariffs to New Delhi, who he called a big abuser of trade. While this dialogue between the democracies in the early days of Trump 2.0 shows positive signs, One will have to wait and watch to see where India-US ties progress. Disha Bapchi for NDTV World.
Now, despite the strong India-US relationship, President Trump said that high tariff countries, where he named India along with China and Brazil, said harm America and that Washington would impose taxes on other countries to bring money into the US. Let's get in Disha Bapchi, my colleague, to really explain the details to this and why it impacts India and the Indian economy. And also listen in to President Trump when he said this in so many words.
Tariffs on outside countries and outside people that really mean us harm. They want to, well, they mean us harm, but they basically want to make their country good. Look at what others do. China's a tremendous tariff maker, and India and Brazil and so many countries. And so we're not going to let that happen any longer because we're going to put America first. Always put America first. That's what's going to happen.
Hours after Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump held a telephonic conversation where they discussed a range of issues, including trade. Now, Donald Trump's statement, as you mentioned, calling India one of the high tariff nations, naming India alongside China and Brazil, it reiterates what President Trump has been mentioning throughout the past, throughout his election campaign and since his November victory, that he will impose high tariffs on India among other nations and reciprocal tariffs, in fact. And now, in this particular statement, he mentions that that he's going to impose tariffs on countries who mean harm to America but are trying to do good for their own country and trying to earn money for their own countries. Now, this comes, as I mentioned, roughly hours after US President Donald Trump held a conversation with Prime Minister Modi, where Trump emphasized the need to even out the trade playing field, discussing the fact that India needs to up its defense procurement from the US and, in fact, level the bilateral trade ties, because in the past he has called India one of the big abusers of the trade ties between India and the US, and hence him reiterating the fact that he will in fact impose these trade tariffs brings a little bit of friction in what is otherwise quite a strong relationship between New Delhi and Washington. Now, in his first, range of executive orders, he has yet to impose tariffs on any of the countries that he has mentioned, but it is we'll have to wait and watch to see what happens on February 1st.
Okay, let's get in the guest this evening to talk more about the India-US relationship, what this means, what could be the roadblocks, and what could be the areas of convergence. I have Meera Shankar and Mr. Jayant Krishna with me today to talk more about this. And before I get both of you in, I want to quickly tell our viewers the key points of discussions, the big questions as we put it, which is question number one: will Trump's America First policy hurt India? I mean, he's made it very clear time and again that his entire trade policy is going to center around that. What will it mean for us? The next key question that we are asking is, how will the India-US balance of trade, how will they balance trade ties? Will there be give and take? Will there be an FTA? Which could be areas where there could be some convergence and some meeting of minds. The third key question that we'll be asking is that, well, a lot gets done if the leaders come together and they get along better, because that's when thorny issues have a higher chances of being ironed out. Will that bonhomie come in good play there? And the last question is, how will India tackle those friction points? Remember, there are significant thorny issues, the first and foremost being trade, something that Donald Trump has mentioned again and again. And let's put that out to Meera Shankar, who's a former ambassador of India to the United States. Ma'am, explain to us that, given what Donald Trump has said in so many words, we were taking comfort from the fact that after his inauguration speech, he actually mentioned Canada and Mexico and not India, but that isn't the case anymore. He has spelt out India in that many words. How do you see the India-US relationship from a trade point of view?
Look, I think the India-US relationship
Ma'am,
will
you're on
not...
mute.
Sorry.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, the India-US trade relationship is not going to be a priority for trade action as far as Trump is concerned, because he will first focus on the US's key trading partners. If you look at India-US trade in both goods and services, it's roughly a little less than $200 billion. It's broadly balanced already. You cannot have a, strict, account for account balance, but it's broadly balanced because India has a small trade surplus, which has varied between $20 billion and $30 billion. And last year it was $32 billion. So it's not such a huge trade surplus that India has with the US, and trade action against us is not likely to address the question of the US deficit, which is hundreds of billions of dollars with their key trading partners such as China, Mexico, Canada. And these will be Trump's priorities, also Europe. India could figure, as I see it, both in terms of a push to get us to buy more US defense equipment, and that Trump has already mentioned. It's possible that as the US steps up energy production of fossil fuels and gas, India may have an opportunity to buy more of that from the US. And there will be an effort to get India to procure more, to increase its purchases from the US. But as long as the overall trade relationship grows, I think that's something that could be, negotiated to mutual benefit. Obviously, we don't want to buy things which we don't need, but there's a whole range of defense equipment, defense technology, security technologies, which
Yes.
India could require, and that gives you room for
Indeed.
play.
Indeed. Indeed. Let's get in Mr. Jayant Krishna with his opening remarks there as well. He's a senior fellow with the CSIS. Sir, in your assessment, which could be those specific sectors where you see more of those friction points coming out in play, where, well, the trade negotiators on both sides will really have to work their way to get some kind of a common a consensus going?
See, yes, as Ambassador Shankar mentioned, that, between India and US, the trade, the two-way trade is almost $200 billion. And India has a trade surplus. US is one of the few countries with whom India has a trade surplus, which means India exports more to the US than what it imports from the US, So that's a good thing. Since you talked about the key sectors, if you look at the US imports from India, by and large, they are finished goods like machinery, or some interim goods like textile, diamonds, gems, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, coffee, tea, iron and steel. This is what US typically imports from US, And as Ambassador Shankar mentioned very clearly, that while for India, US is the largest trading partner, but for the US, for the US, India is the seventh largest trading partner. So he will sort out issues and tariff issues with the leading partners first, and then come to India.
Okay.
So I think it's very important if in any of these sectors, like in his last tenure, he did change, the tariff policy, the import duty on iron and steel, which did adversely affect India. So I think
Yes, it
these are the
did.
sectors which are very, very prone to any import duty changes and so on and so
I
forth.
think he also
And
removed the generalized preferential system. There were tariffs and counter tariffs on steel. All that really did create a bit of a muddy water, so to say, when it came to trade negotiations. But specifically, Ambassador Shankar, the fact that there is a possible meeting between the two leaders in about less than 3 weeks from now, it's expected to be somewhere in the middle of February. Do you think early on, if the two leaders get along in terms of give and take on trade, that could probably iron out things more?
Well, it would certainly set a positive tone for the relationship. And Trump himself has said we have good relations with India, and he's announced a possible early visit by Prime Minister Modi. Now, all countries are preparing to deal with Trump on the trade and economic front by A, looking at a potential reciprocal list of imports on which they could impose similar tariffs as the US imposes on them, and also looking at a basket of give and take for negotiations. It's not an either-or policy. Last time, I think India was the slowest to impose reciprocal tariffs after the US put tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. Most other countries were ready with reciprocal tariffs right off the mark within a couple of months, and we took 2 years negotiating with the US. I think when you negotiate with the US, you have to create leverage as well. I think merely negotiating on the basis of goodwill and giving is not, may not yield the desirable results.
Indeed.
You need a mix of both.
Indeed, you need leverage. You need to be able to cut a deal at the same time. Something that, in a conversation that C. Raja Mohan told me, Mr. Jayant Krishna, a couple of days back, that Indian negotiators have this tendency to go on negotiating in the hope that their negotiations outlast administrations, which is why we are not able to really cut FTAs when it matters. Do you think we'll be able to, get out of that tendency, probably get some sort of a deal on the table? Because President Trump appreciates deals, because that's his nature.
Is that the question to me?
Yeah.
So with the US, FTA is not even on the radar, right? I mean, there's no discussion happening. Unlike UK, there is no FTA in discussion, right? So I think typically any trade deal, the larger the basket of products and services which are imported and exported between the two countries, more complex an FTA or an equivalent deal becomes, So I don't think FTA is even on the cards, but I think, some of the key announcements may happen sooner than later, and the Prime Minister Modi going there early enough, and perhaps one of the first few major countries, heads of government going there, I think that itself will open a good stage for negotiation. I hope there's no announcement before that, because let's understand, in today's day and age, countries do not necessarily get what they deserve. Countries get what they negotiate. So that's another thing. Always there's some discussion that precedes a major, import duty, fiddling decision. I think that is what we need to see. But I believe, an early engagement that Foreign External Affairs Minister Jaishankar had with Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State. Perhaps it was the first. After swearing in, this was the first bilateral that the Secretary of State had with any External Affairs Minister. That itself was a good thing, and if the same
sets the tone for some sort of engagement to happen on a more regular basis. I'm completely out of time. Thank you so much, both of you, for taking out the time on an issue I'm quite certain that we're going to revisit sooner than we know. On that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. We come back on the other side, talk more about the recurring issue between India and Sri Lanka regarding fishermen. What's the latest? Let's stay with us. We get you that detail.
This winter sale, say OMG because our best ever price is back. You'll get this unlimited data SIM for just £22 per month. And you can gift data to the family, so you can start the new year more connected to everyone and everything. All on the UK's best network. That's why families choose EE. Hurry, this winter sale offer ends 30th of January.
Now that's the smile of a savvy saver. The beam of bagging another bargain, bossing beauty on a budget, paying with your points for something that's oh so me or oh so you. Ticking off those trends for less, but spending less than you thought. Whether you popped in for something small or came home with a haul. Smile, you're a savvy who just got the best for less. Save 50% off big brands and be a savvy too. Boots, with you for life.
Sign up and start saving with Quidco today. Get cashback every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco.
With BetterHelp, the work is all about the relationship, finding my way to enter into their world, to see the world through their eyes.
Personalised care comes from listening to the client and what they want to bring you. It's for us to just be there for them.
As a therapist on BetterHelp, I think it's really important to let clients know that you see them authentically and in the way that they want to be seen.
Add light and a touch of style to your home with Luma Lantern from JML. The light and motion-activated solar-powered lantern light. Just peel and stick for easy installation. The built-in solar panel charges it during the day and it automatically switches on at night, then turns off when it's light. Choose from 3 different brightness settings for the perfect hassle-free lighting this winter with Luma Lantern. Only $14.99 from Asda, Argos, Morrisons, Tesco and JMLdirect.com.
Our first year as a family flew by, and now I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Welcome back. You're watching India Global. We now turn our attention to the other big story we are tracking. External Affairs Ministry has summoned the acting High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in New Delhi and launched a strong protest after 5 Indian fishermen sustained injuries, including 2 seriously injured in an incident of firing by the Sri Lankan Navy in the proximity of the Delft Island. India, in its reaction, said the use of force is not acceptable under any circumstances whatsoever. Sri Lankan Navy also has responded, saying Indian fishermen acted aggressively. Indian fishermen attempted to assault naval officer. This is remember the Sri Lankan version. Tried snatching firearm from Navy and the confrontation led to accidental firing. This is the Sri Lankan version of the incident. The fishermen going and getting caught in Sri Lankan waters is a recurring problem that India and Sri Lanka have been trying to resolve diplomatically for a very long time. All right, moving our attention now to the story that's really shaken up AI stocks around the world. Deepseek is shaking up the AI industry with cost-efficient large language models it claims can perform just as well as rivals from giants like OpenAI and Meta. Deepseek's ChatGPT competitor quickly soared to the top of the App Store, and the company is now disrupting financial markets, with shares of Nvidia dipping about 17% on 27th of January. What's the story all about? How much it impacts viewers, you and me? Arjun, my colleague, breaks that down for us.
And when a game-changing AI developed in China's Hangzhou is shaking up global tech landscape, it is called Deepseek. Founded in 2023 by seasoned entrepreneur and engineer Liang Wenfang, the company has unleashed the Deepseek V3 model. Well, it's an advanced open-source AI designed to mimic human thinking, setting it apart from other AI systems. Now, what's jaw-dropping is that this cutting technology model was developed for less than $6 million. It's less than a fraction of what competitors have been using. Not only this, the system also operates in a fraction of what similar models in the US would cost in today's date. However, its biggest appeal is the open source approach, which allows developers to build on Deepseek's technology. Not so surprisingly, Deepseek's sudden rise has sent shockwaves through the US markets. The S&P 500 tech sector index, in fact, has seen its biggest drop since September 2020, plummeting by 5.6%. On the other hand, the Nasdaq, which is home to Silicon Valley's giants, has fallen by 3.1%, with Nvidia, a leading chip maker, suffering the worst hit. The company has experienced a staggering $600 billion loss in the market value, or a 17% drop, the largest one-day loss for any company in Wall Street history. Other tech giants like Broadcom, Microsoft, and Alphabet have also taken a hit, with Broadcom down 17.4%, Microsoft dropping 2.1%, and Alphabet down 4.7%. Deepseek's competitors, NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Microsoft, and Alphabet are all feeling the heat. In fact, NVIDIA, who's the leader in AI-driven semiconductor, has been hit the hardest, but other big names, mind you, are not far behind. OpenAI, known for its ChatGPT models, and tech behemoths like Microsoft and Alphabet are all facing pressure of being outpaced by a low-cost Chinese AI model that's making literally wave around the US market. Now, the rise of Deepseek could have massive implications for the future of AI, specifically in the US. The government might reconsider its infrastructure spending on AI as companies like Deepseek prove that advanced AI doesn't always require billions in investments. Now, there are also growing concerns over user data and privacy concerns, especially with the company's origin being in China. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has already weighed in, calling the release of Deepseek a quote-unquote a wake-up call for US industries to refocus on winning the AI race. Listen in.
All right, on that note, we slip into a very short break. We come back with lots more stories and an exclusive interview with another person throwing their hat in the ring for Canada's Liberal Party. Stay with us.
We all know animals have feelings. They depend on kindness, just like you and me. So imagine how they feel when they're beaten, starved, and unloved. Every minute, the RSPCA is called on to save animals in physical agony and mental torment. It's unbearable to see the pain in their eyes. We refuse to give up on them, but to rescue them from a life of fear, we urgently need animal lovers like you to donate today. Please call 0800 121 4260 or text KIND to 84903 to give £2 a month to the RSPCA. Your gift will help fund more life-saving rescues, more emergency treatment, and more gentle rehabilitation. Every month, you'll be helping to keep animals free from pain and sadness, so they can find the comfort and joy they deserve. Right now, across the country, thousands are suffering deliberate harm. But together, we can show animals what kindness feels like. Together, we can rescue them. So please, call 0800 121 4260, text KIND to 84903, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
Step into an unforgettable year with a VIP, a very important postcode. Because in People's Postcode Lottery's February draws, players in one winning postcode will each win £12,000 every month for 12 months. Fill your calendar with the things you've always dreamed of. Sign up before midnight on the 31st of January for you and your neighbours' chance to win £12,000 every month for 12 months. Is your door in the draw?
Hello. How was Iceland? It was good, I guess. Had a few issues here and there. Didn't you check Brighton? No, the sun wasn't bright at all. Iceland, you know.
Wait, you don't know Brighton?
They must have missed out on some seamless visa assistance.
Plus extra baggage allowance and 24/7 customer support.
I mean, there's a reason they're rated excellent on Trustpilot.
Brighton Travel, making travel brighter.
Who doesn't love a good deal?
Meal deals.
Be rude not to deals. Seal deals? Or a bit of deal or no deal? We've got free-to-play deals with no deposit required. And up to £1,000 to be won every day. Get that good deal feeling only at Tombola.
Quidco gives you cashback every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco. Sign up and start saving today. Visit quidco.com.
This is India Global Viewers, and we start the segment with an exclusive interview. The Canadian leadership race is heating up with Ruby Dhalla, a second-generation immigrant in Canada who's thrown her hat in the ring. She's a former model, a former legislator from the Liberal Party. Ruby Dhalla spoke with me earlier on what her plans are and why did she like to make a plunge again for Liberal Party leadership. Listen in. All right, let's get you an exclusive conversation. The Canadian leadership race is heating up with Ruby Dhalla, a second-generation immigrant in Canada who's thrown her hat in the ring. She's a former model and a former legislator from the Liberal Party. And Ruby Dhalla joins me live to talk about her leadership bid as well. Ruby, good to have you on the show, and thank you so much for speaking to NDTV. My first question to you is, why exactly did you decide to throw your hat in the ring for the leadership of the Liberal Party?
I think it was very important to have diversity within our party, and also to have diversity in the debate in our country in Canada. It will be the first time that a woman of color and that someone from an immigrant community will be running to become Canada's Prime Minister. Given my business experience as a self-made businesswoman, given my experience as a doctor, as a healthcare provider, and also given my legislative experience as a 3-time MP, I felt that that insight as a businesswoman, as a doctor, and as a legislator is very important to ensure that we navigate through the many challenges that our country is facing.
You mentioned challenges that Canada is facing right now. What, according to you, are the main issues for the Canadian people?
There's many issues and challenges that Canadians across our country are facing. First and foremost, we have issues in regards to affordable housing. Housing has become very expensive, and many of our, fellow Canadians are having difficulty in, buying houses because of the increase, in prices. We also have an issue with an increase in crime rate across the country, increased food prices when people are going out to the grocery stores. And then one of our biggest threats, which our country is facing, is the tariff tax that Trump wants to introduce from the U.S. And given the tariff threats that, Canada is facing, it will have a big impact on Canadian workers and on the Canadian economy.
Okay, under Justin Trudeau, the Liberal Party is facing record lows in terms of its ratings. How do you view that, and how do you plan to fix that if you become the leader?
I'm the daughter of immigrant parents. I was born and raised in Canada in a city called Winnipeg, but my mom came to Canada in 1972. And I had the opportunity, through her wishes, through a lot of hard work, drive, and determination, but also because of the great country that Canada is, to fulfill a Canadian dream. To grow up from very, very humble beginnings in Winnipeg, to work hard and then to go on to become a doctor, a self-made businesswoman, a 3-time MP. I think that speaks volumes about the opportunities that exist in our great country. It was because of Pierre Trudeau, our current Prime Minister's father, that many immigrants came in the 1970s. And I think with, this hope, with the opportunities that Canada has, that it provides much opportunity for people to succeed. And I hope that as Prime Minister, we will continue to ensure that our immigrants continue to help build the great country that Canada is.
Okay. Let me now come to the India-Canada relationship. It's been significantly impacted or hit by Justin Trudeau's policies. He mainstreamed a lot of Khalistani extremist ideologies. If you win the leadership race, how will you fix this? How will you address the India-Canada relationship?
I think that the Canada-India relationship is very important given the fact that we have a very large Indian diaspora here in Canada. My leadership race is going to be focused on the issues that impact Canadians, that are priorities, to our country. But this is a very important issue. And given the fact, that Donald Trump from the United States, they want to introduce tariffs for Canada and for our economy, I think it's very important that Canada also create other partnerships and other relationships with many of the other countries in the world. And I think whether it is, in China or in India or in Saudi or many of the other countries, we must ensure that we develop strong partnerships and relationships. So जितने भी हमारे कनाडा में बिजनेस लोग हैं, जितने भी हमारे कनाडा में वर्कर्स हैं, उनको भी एक अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलनी चाहिए कि वो बाकी जो देश हैं उनके साथ वो काम कर सकते हैं.
Okay. Ruby, right now you're trying to be the leader of the Liberal Party, and it's an interim PM who may or may not lead the party into the election. What's your game plan? Are you in for the long term? Are you only seeing the immediate challenges that lie for the Liberal Party?
As a businesswoman, हमारा जो plan होता है, we always have a short-term plan in business and we always have a long-term plan in business. जो भी लोग हैं, जिसको भी हमारी story का, मालूम है, उनको मालूम होगा कि I was 14 years old when I started with the Liberal Party. And many years later, I became elected as a member of parliament, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And जब मैं elect हुई थी, हमने एक history camp की थी because I was the first woman of Indian origin to ever get elected, in the Western world. And abhi dekhte hain, I have dedicated so much of my life to public service and to people. And ye jo hamara, humne initiative liya hai to run as the leader for the Liberal Party, but also to become Canada's next Prime Minister. This is a long-term plan to ensure that I continue to work with Liberals all across Canada to rebuild our party and to ensure that we rebuild our great country. And hamara jo campaign ka slogan hai, it is Canada's comeback starts now.
Okay. Ruby, that's a very interesting slogan. And finally, as we wrap this up, I must ask you that the Conservative Party, led by Pierre Poilievre, is saying that under Justin Trudeau's leadership, Liberal Party caused enormous damage to the Canadian society, economy, and at large. How will you address that if you become the leader of the Liberal Party?
Hamara jo platform hai, we have a number of different initiatives. So some of them I have shared with you, whether it's on the issue of housing, on reducing crime, of ensuring that we reduce, food prices across this country. But hamara jo taxation ka system hai Canada mein, I also want to ensure that we make it more competitive. So जो हमारे youth है, जो कोई business शुरू करना चाहते हैं, जो हमारे entrepreneurs हैं, जिनके पास business है, whether it's a small or medium-sized business, हम एक competitive economy बनाना चाहते हैं, जिसमें हमारा जो tax structure है, it is able to compete and it actually helps and supports businesses and entrepreneurs and the young people of our country. जो हमारा taxation structure जो है, competitive होगा, इसमें क्या होगा कि जो हमारे entrepreneurs हैं, business वाले लोग हैं, youth हैं, they will be able to compete not only here in Canada but all across the world. And मैंने काफी international level में भी काम किया है, and I think it is very important that we bring Canada back, to the country that was very respected on the world stage, that we work with our international countries to ensure that we continue to build great partnerships and great relations.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Health isn't someday in the future, it's now. It's same-day GP appointments, physio without GP referrals, cancer testing, scans and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything. Routine dental checkups every year for brighter smiles. Support that lasts for as long as it takes. Feeling your best every day starts today. Call or go online now for your quote.
Now I'm retired, I can spend more time with my grandson. I'm proud of him and want to help any way I can. Which reminds me,
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
Well, that's good to know.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000.
And that money can help with my funeral costs or even be used as a gift. I'll do it.
Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
Thanks, Mum, for everything.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Sign up and start saving with Quidco today. Get cashback every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco.
Welcome back. You're watching India Global with me, Gauri Dwivedi. We now focus on the India-China relationship. They've decided to resume the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra during Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri's Beijing visit, where the Foreign Secretary met Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Beijing. And he said that India and China should seize the opportunity, meet each other halfway. India and China should meet each other halfway and commit themselves to mutual understanding rather than mutual suspicion. That's what the Chinese readout said after the meeting that took place where Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is on a 2-day visit for talks. Remember, there's been a bit of a thaw, but the issue related to trust remains. This is the second such high-profile visit from India to China in less than 1.5 months. As I said, a certain thawing of relations has taken place, but questions and suspicion remain, and so does the issue regarding the border dispute as well. Remember, it all started in 2020 with the Galwan dispute. Some progress has been made. What does this mean for the India-China relationship? Let's get in Gunjan Singh, who is an associate professor at the OP Jindal University, and we also have Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar to decode this for us. Thank you so much, both of you. And Ambassador Sajanhar, let me start with you, sir. How do you see the positives that have come in terms of resumption of direct flights as well as Kailash Mansarovar Yatra?
Yes, thank you very much, Gauri. As you said, it is positives. It is an important step, but it's a small step. And also the point that you raised about the trust, I think trust will be very long in coming. So we have to move very slowly. We have to, take these baby steps to begin with. We are trying to get back to the relationship as it existed in April 2020, because we've got the status quo ante in terms of patrolling of our troops on the forward areas. We have more or less got the disengagement done. But after that, there is the whole process of de-escalation and the troops moving back so that there is peace and tranquility on the border. So it's a long way. And as, again, you very rightly said, there was no discussion, there's no mention of the border. Border issue still is outstanding, and that will take a long time. So I think as far as trust is concerned, that is not a word I would like to use as far as relations with China are concerned.
Okay.
It will take a long time.
Gunjan Singh, you want to come in there in terms of how do you see the India-China relationship one step forward?
Yes, I think that has been the basic term used or adjective used. It's one step forward, but there's always been 2 steps backwards. In this sense, we can see it as a 1 step forward. As Sajjan has also said, these are baby steps. These things have been in discussion for a long time. April 2020, things have derailed since then. The talks on resumption of direct flights, the Mansarovar Yatra, the sharing of hydrological data, all these.
No, but
things
this
that
also
were
builds into the people-to-people ties, really, Gunjan. This
Yes,
builds into
these
the
are
people-to-people
people-to-people
ties.
ties.
Efforts are
Yes,
being made
and
to sort of, try and put them in separate compartments, which is one is the trade part, second is the people-to-people, and third is the border dispute, which remains a thorny issue, isn't it?
Yes, and there's been no mention of the border. So it seems like border management is the way forward as of now, rather than actually looking for a border discussion or solution or any kind of border a boundary issue or the talks of actually trying to resolve the border issue. The management of the border dispute has been going on since October last year. There's been de-escalation. However, there's been no major push beyond that. The armies are still there. The situation is still ongoing, and patrolling agreements have been under the process.
Right.
But even during this visit, there's been no
Yes.
discussion or any kind of de-induction of the troops per se.
Ambassador Sajjanar, quickly, the fact that people-to-people ties are being restored, do you think that's an important aspect of rebuilding some of the trust in the relationship? Quickly.
Gauri, this is the demand that has been from the Indian side, and that's why we have insisted that this Kailash Mansarovar Yatra should be restored. And it was the Chinese demand that, there should be these direct flights also taking place. So I agree with you that, this is the whole idea, this was the whole intention. Coming to the border we have said as far as the special representatives are concerned, we had the visit of Mr. Doval to Beijing, and he met his counterpart also, Wang Yi, there. So, there were some initial discussions on the border issue. So I think border will be separately dealt with by the special representatives, as was decided by the two leaders when they met in Kazan in October.
We are bifurcating the issues is the whole point. Both of you stay with me because I want to address another issue which involves India, China, and that is the Maldives issue. Stay with me. Viewers, India is now also reassessing its financial support to the Maldives after the island nation finally put the FTA with China into motion. It was signed about 7 years back, but it's come into effect now. And this comes just a month after India pledged financial aid to keep the Maldives practically afloat. Everybody says it's actually India's aid that has really rescued Maldives right now. But what does this mean in the wake of the Maldives-China FTA? And where does this take the India-Maldives relationship is a question that that I'm going to put to our guests, but let me also play out the big questions that we are asking on this. The first question is that will India revoke Maldives aid over the China FTA? The second question that we're going to ask to our panelists is that fresh friction. Remember, it's been a very testy relationship between India and the Maldives, and will this add to the friction between the two sides? The other key question that we are putting out is how will India regain influence over this region? Something that it's been competing with China over. Let's get in both Ambassador Sajjanar and Gunjan back with me. Gunjan, you want to come in there in terms of the India-Maldives relationship back and forth? Mohammad Muizzu came to India, he's got a rescue package, but well, he's also going around shopping for the best deal in the market, isn't he?
Yes, and India did play a key role in almost helping bail out Maldives, I think in October. Almost $760 million were committed, cash exchange were leased out. India also helped Maldives start trading in Indian currency. However, the FTA talks with China were, I think, on since 2018 or before that. And they've announced that the FTA is now is resumed, and Maldives have signed an FTA, which definitely puts India-Maldives relations a little bit again on a frosty issue. The relationship had started in a very adverse way, I should say, and then things did improve. Maldives did seem to India works, or the diplomatic maneuverings did work.
Yes.
Maldives-India relations were seen as moving up front, moving upscale at least. But we also know that Foreign Minister Wang Yi did visit Maldives last month, and
Yes.
it seems that that would have been some indication that China was keen
Before I get in,
on
Ambassador
signing the
Sajjanhar
FTA.
as well, let me quickly tell our viewers why this is important. The India-Maldives trade relationship, and then we also talked about the Maldives-China relationship. The trade between the two sides, that is India and Maldives, has grown from about $126 million in 2010 to about $485 million in 2022. As far as the China-Maldives relationship is concerned, that has grown from about less than 60 million. Remember, they were half of India in 2010 to about $562 million, a little more than India. So it's not like that China has completely come and overtaken the Maldives trade relationship and India doesn't have a skin in the game, Ambassador Sajjanhar, which is why it's so important that what should be India's next moves will really determine its influence in the region.
Yeah, you're right, Gauri. You asked 3 questions. So, if you permit, I will,
sure.
If I remember them correctly, I will respond to them. Number 1, you said, will India revoke its aid to the Maldives as a result of this FTA? No, I don't think it will. Will it have a very significant adverse impact as far as India-Maldives relations? We will have a conversation with Maldives, but we are not going to sort of, in any way rock the boat. Our position has always been, Gauri, that our neighboring countries, and they will try to get the best deal. And if they are getting the best deal as far as trade is concerned, as long as it does not impinge on my core security concerns, I don't have much of a problem. What I need to do is I need to focus on my own strengths. And I have huge strengths as far as Maldives is concerned because
Yes.
it's my neighbor. There are imperatives of, interdependency between neighboring countries, and Maldives tried a great deal. It tried to go to Turkey, it tried to go to Singapore, it tried to go to UAE. Nothing succeeded. Nothing will succeed. India is the only country, whether it is for trade, whether it is for medical tourism, or many of the other aspects that Maldives needs. So I think India needs to nurture this relationship, which we are going to. We will, of course, keep a very close eye as far as, what China is doing in our neighborhood. Let's face it, I think even as far as Bangladesh is concerned during Sheikh Hasina's time, it had very close ties, even defense ties
Yes.
with China. So I know where, India recognizes where our strengths are, and we will continue to focus on that. We are not going to be sort of, deterred by any of these issues. We'll keep a close watch, but that's about it for the time being.
Indeed. Thanks much, Gunjan Singh and Ambassador Sajjanhar, for really breaking that down. And it's not just Maldives, it's Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, all put together, where we need to ensure that the trade and the economic relationship continues to stay balanced and in our favor. Thank you so much. And on that note, viewers, we now turn our attention, to the fashion segment that we keep getting for you. Indian designer Rahul Mishra makes a stunning return to Paris Couture Week with his 37-look collection. It's called the Pale Blue Dot. It's named after Carl Sagan's famous reflection on Earth's place in the universe. Mishra's collection honors our planet while exploring deeper themes of life, loss and human connection. The concept is deeply personal, born from his own experience with the passing of his fathers. NDTV's Mayank Chaudhary brings this report for you.
The most prestigious fashion week has kicked off in the French fashion capital. Paris Haute Couture Week sees the best of the fashion world, most artistic expression through the medium of clothes. At this wearable art extravaganza, our very own ace Indian designer Rahul Mishra presented his collection last night, titled The Pale Blue Dot, after Carl Sagan's essay. The collection and mood was darker than Mishra's usual bright and lively lines. The 37-look collection saw some of designer's older motifs and surface work, with city skyscape and Mother Nature's strong influence. Dramatic peekaboo-style silhouettes in blacks and gold. Mishra's core design team has given us exclusive information that over 100 hand embroiders and a tailoring team of 26 people have worked on this fabulous line. The casting was at par with the collection, where model Coco Rocha opened the show with a gigantic geometric black cape. Drag artist Miss Fame sashayed in a backless gold dress, and fashion fanatic Jordan Roth extravagantly walked in a piece laden with crow motifs. Model Deborah Shaw closed the show in a powerful gold-fringed blazer look. Overall, the music was loud, the lights were low, and once again Rahul Mishra made a mark in Paris, displaying the impeccable Indian craftsmanship that his label is known for.
All right, on that note, we wrap this edition of India Global. Thanks so much for watching.
Hey, look at our Simply Safe home security system.
Let's install it.
We need another camera.
What for?
They're collectibles. What?
Now you've got a camera each.
Yay!
Systems start from under £200 when you buy a professional monitoring plan. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
In our February draws, players in one winning postcode will each win £12,000 every month for 12 months. Sign up before midnight on the 31st of January.
Sitting quietly while your car is made all shiny. Downtime can be just fine too. Ready meal is piping. Waterproof, on the loo. Just enjoy your back tattoo. Tea break, face break, maybe even watch the ad break. Sometimes it's not time for some tombola, right? It's enjoying lasagna time, chilling with a book time, or time to visit your nan time. Put the phone down.
I'm a simple man, but now I'm in my 50s, things are getting a little more complicated. Retirement's peeking around the corner, and I wanted to make sure my family would be really looked after if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today.
They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period.
Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life.
Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more can be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card. To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4774 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings delivered direct to your door. Shop now for 30% off selected products at blindsdirect.co.uk.
If you're homeless, you're never safe.
Tonight, too many young people like Kira will be at risk right here on our streets. But you could help a young person find safety and begin a new future by sponsoring a room at Centrepoint.
It's more than a room. You get real support and training to help you get your life back on track.
Please search Centrepoint Room online today or call 0808 281 8001 and be the turning point for a young person like Kira. Thank you.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to the Southern View. I'm Bida Raghav. Our special focus this evening on the Dhanush Nayanthara copyright showdown in Tamil Nadu and the Deepseek impact and what it means for India in the world of generative AI. But first, let's take you through the headlines we're tracking this hour. The Mumbai police categorically refute all conspiracy theories in the Saif Ali Khan case, reiterate that they have the real accused in custody. India steps up pressure on Sri Lanka over firing on Tamil Nadu fishermen. New Delhi summons the Sri Lankan acting High Commissioner over the alleged firing by the Sri Lankan Navy, leaving 5 Indians injured. Sri Lankan Navy says the Indian fishermen were confrontational. Rahul Gandhi's royal families ignored the poor remarks in Madhya Pradesh, evokes a sharp BJP reaction. BJP claims it's hit-and-run politics. Well, first up this evening, this is a battle in Tamil cinema that has been closely watched. One between two top Tamil stars, Nayanthara and Dhanush, and one that has Netflix right in the middle of it. The Madras High Court today dismissed a Netflix petition seeking dismissal of Dhanush's copyright suit against Netflix for use of a 3-second clip from the film Nanum Rowdythan, which he produced in 2015. The clip was used in the Netflix documentary Nayanthara Beyond the Fairy Tale. The documentary uses the clip from the film and several others to narrate her life story. Nayanthara and her husband, director Vignesh Shivam, met on the sets of the film, which was directed by Vignesh and produced by Dhanush. Dhanush had asked Netflix to take down the documentary, and Nayanthara, in social media posts, had accused him of an all-time low. Well, so does this define the new age copyright battles in Tamil cinema? Remember, often these are sorted behind the scenes. Rarely do two top stars slug it out in a court of law. Joining me this evening, noted film critic from Chennai, Lata Srinivasan, actor Sanjana Galrani, and advocate at the Apex Court, Ashutosh Srivastava. Thanks to all three of you for joining us this evening. Lata, first to you. It's not often that we see a tussle between two stars over copyright play out in a court of law. It is interesting and perhaps share some deeper trends in Tamil cinema.
Good evening, Veera. You're absolutely right. You know, this is the first time I think in Indian cinema that we've seen two big stars openly, slug it out on social media, accusing Nayanthara, accusing Dhanush of, being fake and not real, and so on, as we saw in her letter. This is the first time that this has happened, but I think, there's more to the story than just a simple copyright issue. There are many reports in Tamil film industry which says that Nanum Rowdythan, during the making of the film itself, there was bad blood between the producer and Vignesh Shivan and Nayanthara, and that kind of festered over a period of time, which eventually led to this unfortunate incident. But this is not the first time that, copyright issues have come up.
That you point out, yes, there are strong legal aspects, but I want Sanjana Galrani to weigh in on what Lata possibly suspects, that this could be more than just
egos here. The size of the ego is larger or bigger than what we can even imagine or see through just our eyes. And the particular 3-second copyright, I think it's really unfair to drag it down the lane and have such a slug fight over the entire thing, because it's not even the clipping of the film. The 3 seconds are something where they're giggling, I think, behind the scenes, it's a BTS. It's not even a part of Parhan. Everybody sent her NOCs and a lot of love and affection for her Netflix series. But this is in the Netflix documentary. Does that justify? It's really cruel kind of a plea which has been put out over there. And I feel really bad looking at this. Like, guys, come on, things can be sorted out. This is not the kind of energy you want to give your fans to, so that your fans, like Dhanush's fans and Nayanthara's fans, fight it in the court of law in front of everyone. And this is kind of a lot of negative energy is being generated and negative vibrations have been generated out of this case. And I feel really bad about it.
Negative vibrations have been generated, says Sanjana. Ashutosh, just weigh in here. She says 10 crores for a 3-second clip, but is it the owner of the 3-second clip who decides the price? Is there a straightforward way to deal with this in a court of law? Is it a straightforward case, or does it bring about complex issues of content platforms in which they are used, which we are increasingly seeing in terms of a tussle for perhaps several other reasons, but for copyright primarily?
See, first of all, the court has not yet decided the main petition. The copyright issue is still pending. Netflix has challenged the jurisdiction of the Madras High Court, that the court was not having jurisdiction to try this particular case. However, that particular petition has been rejected. So that means the court will hear the entire petition on merits. So nothing has been decided on merits of the case, and it will depend on various factors and also the Copyright Act, its provisions as to how the court reaches to a conclusion while deciding it to its finality. You know, the issues involved here would also be as to when, because she has acted in the film in 2015, for which this 3 seconds clip has created the issue here. So, you know, we have to see as to what was the arrangement between her and the producer. You know, that will also play a vital role, because she was also a part of the film at that time. So I think various factors will play the role here, and the court
will be left to the wisdom of the courts. But Lata, I just want to point out, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is an interesting trend to me for 2 reasons. One is a lady superstar of Tamil cinema, which by itself is a concept that seems to be coming up and gaining traction over the last few years, especially around Nayanthara, taking on a powerful, strong face in Tamil cinema. Issues are.
You know, to be fair, women actresses in the film industry